Grid flexibility is part of the renewable energy system, so it's not separately modeled, and the numbers on costs and benefits are not added, or net savings are not given here. It's just an enabling technology. Cost and savings are embedded in the renewable energy system. It's ranked at number 77 nonetheless. As the amount of contribution from renewables to the grid increases, the intermittency of the renewables like solar and wind have to be accounted for when there is fluctuations in the energy demand from the grid by the customers. Plus, there is flexibility needed to allow customers to add energy when they have excess, withdraw energy when they need it. So these so-called smart grids have to have all kinds of sensors, plus predictions made from wind, which should allow the grid to be ready to respond to the expected changes based on these predictions. Denmark, for example, which relies a lot on wind energy, does I think daily forecasts for wind energy and then updates it in real time, which requires lots of instrumentation to measure winds and wind potential and so on, and then track the demand and know something about the demand that may be coming based on weather forecasts for how cold or how warm it may get and so on, right? So this is from this OSTI sector of DOE, the Department of Energy in the US. This is, I think, the Office of Science and Technology Information, which shows you power in megawatts, and then showing you the concept of flexibility metric in terms of a range of megawatts. So there are things involved like the ramp up rate for what is called dispatchability. So how quickly can you ramp up the power supply based on the demand that's coming online, and the duration of that peak power, and then ramp down needed. So that's the flexibility resource response as measured in time. So that's what the flexibility is. So it includes frequency, voltages, etc. And making the grid flexible, of course, means merging the various sources of power like wind and solar, maybe geothermal, methane from landfill. You may have all sorts of additions that we have been looking at over time. Concentrated solar power, maybe rooftop solar, solar farms, and so on. And there is energy storage capacity, which is going to be able to help with the intermittency problem, so that you can ramp up the dispatch more power when needed using the storage. So that's the essential part of the grid flexibility that the book is talking about, and it is part of the overall solution, and this is considered very critical for the future of smart grids. The book says we do not model grid flexibility because it's a complicated dynamic system, and it's nearly impossible to account for all the local factors at a global scale. However, to grow beyond a 25% share of generation, variable renewable energy sources require grid flexibility. So intermittent sources like solar and wind require that the grid be really flexible to take the input or give back the power to consumers on demand. Emissions reduction from this solution are accounted for in the variable renewable solutions that could not reach their full potential without it. So it's an enabler where the grid flexibility is needed for the renewable solutions to work at their peak capacity or at their best efficiency to achieve their full potential. So all the benefits come from its role in managing a portfolio of energy supply, which includes a lot of intermittent energy sources, which are these renewables. Okay, short podcast. We'll leave it there and then move on to the next one on the energy list.